Howdy! In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to make a simple key press ability in Roblox. So you press a key and something cool happens. Or if you're a Souls RNG developer, you press a key and something boring happens. Anyway, without further ado, let me get into explaining. Now it's really easy. Really, all you need to do is be able to detect when the player presses a key. And since, you're detecting on the client, you can stick that script instead of starter character scripts. And we'll name it Ability Handler. Then to actually detect the key press, we'll use a service called User Input Service. So we'll do local UIS equals game get service user input service. Now we'll actually check for when the player is pressing a key. So you can use uis.inputBegan, connect function, and just to test, you can actually do print key pressed. So whenever a key is pressed, you will see something pop up in the output. Even if you can click your mouse. Basically, if any input is detected, the game will snitch on you and say you pressed a key. Now that's cool and all, but you don't want to detect every single key press. You probably want to detect a singular specific key press. So the way you do that is right here in this function, you'd put input as one of the parameters. So the first thing that's returned is the key that's pressed. Basically, if I print input instead of key pressed, whatever key I press will be printed. So I press W. It just says input object. That's because I'm a moron and I forgot to do input.keycode. So whatever key I press now, so if I click, it says unknown because you can't do key press through key code. You have to use a different way. But if I use any keyboard key, you'll see it prints it. So WASD. I could do RK. Basically, whatever I press is returned. So using that, you can do if input.keycode double equals enum.keycode dot and whatever your key that you want to check for. So I'll do F, then print F was pressed. So as you can see, I'm pressing WASD, but there's no output. But if I press F, it says F was pressed. So basically, simple ability done, right? But what happens if you have a friend named Frank? I just pressed F while typing, and it added another thing to the output. So imagine that was like some crazy ability that detonates the sun. Well, Frank's dead now. Now that's a very easy fix. There's a second parameter for game process event. Now game process event sounds scary, so instead of that, I just do typing. Typing, not OMG. So basically, game process event, in simple terms, if it's equal to true, that means that you are currently like walking around and you're doing your thing and chat is not open. Basically, all you need to take from that is chat is not open if gameplay process event is equal to true. So really all you have to do is check to see if it's not equal to true. So if it's pressed and not typing, I was going to do typing equal false, but not typing is cleaner, then it will register this. So I'm just going to immediately open up chat and say, Frank, I'm sorry. And as you can see, there's nothing in the output, but if I press it while chat is not open like that, or while I'm not typing, you can see I'm able to use my ability. Now, one more thing that you should probably know is debounce. If you've never heard the term debounce, basically it's a cooldown. So you do local db equals false. And just next to typing, you'll do if input.keycode equals enum.keycode F and not typing, and db equals false, then it will run this code. So at the top here, you'll set db to true, and then you'll do task.wait however long you want the cooldown to be. So for me, 3 seconds, and then you'll set db false. So basically, since the code can only run when db is equal to false, God, I have an accent with that. Since it can only run when it's equal to false, now this has a cooldown, which prevents you from spamming it 20-something times in a minute. So if I spam F, you'll see it's way slower than it was before. 3 seconds slower to be exact. Now, I'm about to do some yapping. We have our system for our ability. Really, we replace this print with whatever we want our ability to be. Now, if your ability is client-based, like you press it and you make your character, you alter something like your speed, your animation, or your jump height, stuff like that, you can just change it here in the client script. But if you want to do something like a server time stop, which for this example, I'm going to make time stop on the server, you'd want to use a remote event. So instead of replicated storage, I'm just going to add time stop. Well, I'll add time ability as a remote event, and then I'll do local event equals game. Ooh, there's a cable on my keyboard. Dot replicated storage, wait for child time ability. Then right here, I would just, instead of F was press, I'll do event fire server. Then inside of server script service, you can add a script, do event receiver. Then you can get the same event that we just referenced from the other script, local event equals game dot replicated storage dot, wait for child time ability. So we can do event dot on server event connect function, and for parameter put player. We'll just do, actually I'll do player. Yeah, I was gonna do plur, but I'll do player. So just to test it out, I'm gonna do print player dot name. So whenever that event is fired, it will print the name of the player who fired it. So if I press F, it's RK Games, which proves that it works. So of course, it depends on what kind of ability you want to make. Like I said, if you want to do some kind of client-side ability, you could handle all the code inside of here, but I want to do like a time stop. So effectively, I'm just going to anchor specific things and then unanchor specific things. Now, there's no builds in this world, besides like the base plate and this. I'm just going to get the players. So like, if there's a player, it will anchor their parts. It's pretty easy. I'll just do for I player in game dot players get players do if player, so if it finds one and player is not equal to player, then local char equals player dot character, and for iv in char get children do b dot anchored equals true. Well, actually we'll do if b is a part, then b dot anchored equals true. Test dot wait. Our time stop is going to be 10 seconds, so we'll do test dot wait 10. Actually, that's a pretty overpowered time stop. We'll do 5. I just realized this is not going to work. This is all inside of a loop. You have to do it like this. I am dumb. So you cannot put a test dot wait inside of the loop. You have to do it like this. So I'm just going to copy this. I'll put this down here for now. Then I'm going to copy all the code from this first part of the loop. And then right here you do test.wait 5. And paste your loop again and set to false. The reason you don't handle the test.wait inside is because it's just going to break it. It's going to take 5 seconds to anchor the part. And then it's going to be really bad. Just trust me. But now that you have this, you effectively have a time stop. So I'm going to make it so the ability takes, just so I can visualize it, it takes 3 seconds. And when the time stop happens, I want color from the world to disappear. So I'm going to add a color correction effect. And then I'll add tween service. You can handle this on the client so it looks nicer, but I'm just going to add it to the server. The local TS equals game get service tween service. Then I'm going to do some jank programming and do TS create game.lighting.color correction tweeninfo.new 2. And I'll do that saturation equals -1. Then I'll just play it. Then I'll copy this code, and here at the bottom, when it stops, I'll just set saturation back to 0. And now we have to test this. And before we test it, since the ability lasts this long, I'm going to make the cooldown on it 10 seconds before you can use it again. Yeah, so now we can test it. Alright, so in order to get this jank, like, I don't know, in order to record this, I had to do some jank stuff. But there's no output on my screen, so if this breaks, I won't know. But I'm gonna press F on this guy, which means that this guy shouldn't be able to move, so bam. And after a few seconds, he is no longer able to move, but I am. Now, because of some jankery, you can technically enter a stalemate and just like time stop each other. So I time stopped on this client, I time stopped on this client. Yeah, I'm able to move a little bit, but then I stop. I don't know, it's just jank. You'd have to program that out. But also you're still moving, you're frozen, but you still have animations. I think that's some like funkery with the client. I don't know, I have to look into it. But yeah, let's get off this weird double screen thing. But yeah, we've reached the end of today's tutorial. I know it's very simple, it's just to get you into this. So it's not going to be a crazy ability, but really, this is how you do it. And you can use the same formula to make whatever ability you want effectively. So say you want to, I don't know, do like a dash, you can handle it on the client, and instead of firing an event to the server, you would just change the player's velocity, add like +5 or 10, which will give the player a little jump. You can use their look vector, which if you're new to programming, these are a bunch of words that make no sense. But basically, you can make whatever you want ability-wise using this formula. Just detecting key presses and using debounce. And if you need to, you can use a server to make it so other players are affected as well. So if you've enjoyed today's video, please let me know. If you didn't, please let me know as well. I'll put the project in the description of this video, and I'll add some notes so you know exactly what does what, so you can mess around and make your own abilities. But yeah, that's all. You have a good day. Don't forget to brush your teeth.